Hello, my name is Blaine Cruz, and this is my final presentation. So for my final presentation, I chose to use this ad by Nike. I've used this ad for a previous discussion post in this class. I really like this ad and how it portrays and affects specifically women, the LGBTQ community, minorities, and people with disabilities. In my past experience with Nike and their advertisements, they're known for being very accepting to anyone and everyone. Like I mentioned, I've used several Nike ads throughout this semester because I love and support the company. And part of the reason I love and support the company, besides having exceptional products, is because they are very inclusive. And you will see that in this advertisement. Nike is well known for supporting men, women, LGBTQ minorities, and people with disabilities. They're always known for taking a voice instead of being silent like some companies are, which really helps show their support to these different groups of people who do not always receive support. Nike also, in this advertisement specifically, does not try to sell a product, but they aim more at spreading a message, which I think is very impressive because most companies are out there trying to sell you a product or service to make money, and that's not a top priority for Nike in these advertisements. So here's the advertisement. It's called the "You Can't Stop Us" advertisement. And also on this page, I included a little quote I got from Nike's website. It says, "We believe in the power of sport to unite and inspire people to take action in their communities." I think that quote is awesome and speaks volumes to Nike and their stance and how they choose to support these different groups of people. So first is the LGBTQ community. The Nike ad features somebody skating by with a device that's blowing a rainbow trail of smoke, while in the background they talk of change in sports. As we all know, the rainbow colors and rainbow flag is used to represent and show support for the LGBTQ community, and that is exactly what Nike is doing in this commercial. While the talk of change in sports in the background leads more into how it is becoming more accepting for these LGBTQ athletes to come out and how they are being supported by their teammates and different organizations and companies such as Nike. This ad also features Megan Rapinoe, who is a famous U.S. women's soccer player who is known for being openly lesbian, and she talks in this ad about making the world a better place. The company is clearly taking a stance to show support in this advertisement. They are putting the LGBTQ people on the same platform to be viewed as equals and to advocate for change, which is very important to them because not a lot of companies are doing this, especially in these very trying times where they're not receiving as much support from individuals as they'd like to get. Having a company like Nike stand up and show support will do big things for the company. While the people being represented in this ad specifically are athletes, they are using their platform and are also being used on Nike's platform to support people that share either the same or different views as the audience. Representation by a large known company such as Nike, like I said, helps to give a voice to the LGBTQ community and assures them that their concerns are being heard. Getting something such as reassurance from a company like Nike is very reassuring to the LGBTQ community because, like I said, their voices aren't heard by a lot of people. And something else that stood out in this message or in this advertisement is the quote that if they don't fit the sport, they will change the sport. Also, something I thought was awesome is Nike does not care about the negative repercussions of backing up the LGBTQ community. This has been shown when backing up other minority and ethnic groups, such as when Nike featured Colin Kaepernick on their commercial. Although this sent away a lot of previous customers of theirs, it also helped them gain a large market share by showing their support. Nike is not in it for the money, and although, like I said, they lose market segments, they gain support in other areas, which is what truly matters to the company. So next I have minorities and ethnic communities. The portrayal of these groups indicates they have power in a secure place in society, which is really important. It displays minorities as equals through equal representation in the ad. the one thing I really like about this ad is it is a compilation of just very short video segments. And the first segment will have show someone that's a minority. The next one will have someone with a disability. The next one will have a man. The next one will have a woman. The next one will have a LGBTQ member, and so on. It kind of rotates like that. So it gives all these different groups a platform. It doesn't just specifically focus on one. There's also no stereotyping involved, which does happen, unfortunately, in ads, and kind of will give the company more of a negative look in the eyes of the consumer. So Nike did a very good job there avoiding these stereotypes. It also does not target this group or sell to this group, which is something else that other companies do that Nike does a good job of not doing. And the ad also shows people standing up for racial injustices. Something that stands out to me is the short clip of the athletes with the Black Lives Matter shirts on. That's something that Nike has really taken a big stand for. I've seen it a lot, like with the NBA games. A lot of famous athletes have, instead of their name on the back of their jersey, they'll have some message supporting the Black Lives Matter movement going on. And that is just something that Nike has done to help spread the message and so show support for that group of people. Nike is aiming to show us that there is a problem and that we must all unite and stand up for the greater cause. And probably the best message that Nike is giving out in supporting minorities and ethnic communities is just letting them know that they're heard. A lot of these people are not seeing change happening, not thinking their voices are heard, and Nike is helping assure these people that their voices are being heard and spreading their message to a larger group of people. And I think this is very important because a lot of people won't listen to individuals' opinion, but when it's an organization like Nike that they've always supported and always respected, that might actually get them to change their mind. So next we have disabilities. All right, in this ad, it displays those with disabilities as being just as capable as those without them. It does not pity disabled people or make them stand out. These two things are something that other advertisements have done, which very negatively represent people with disabilities. This ad also uses those with disabilities in scenarios that are commonplace for those without disabilities, such as the ad that really stood out to me was the disabled gymnast on the beach. She cartwheels into the next scene of a gymnast that with no disabilities. That to me is Nike's way of showing the people with disabilities that they are capable of doing anything they put their mind to, and anything that people without disabilities can do as well, they can achieve as well. And another thing I think Nike does awesomely, specifically in this advertisement, is using real people with real disabilities. A lot of companies get bad publicity for using actors that act like they have disabilities. And ads like these can be a source of motivation and support for those with disabilities. And lastly, I think I mentioned this already, but it shows those with disabilities being able to perform to the same standard as those without. And that's very important because, like I said, we don't want to pity these people. We don't want to look down on them. We want them to be shown as well-rounded individuals and motivate them in all ways possible. All right, so lastly, we have the women and how they're represented in this advertisement. This advertisement from Nike puts women in a very dominant sports setting role that is not very common when using women in advertisements. A lot of companies like to show women as being more submissive, like we've learned in class, and women don't like to see that. That's not a good thing that's not a good message to spread. This ad also shows women as equals and that are just as decisive, empowered, and capable as men to make change and make decisions, such as that when I talk about Megan Rapinoe, the scene of her in this advertisement is her standing behind a podium talking to thousands of people about making change. And to me, it just shows that Nike believes that women have as much power to make change as men do, which is a message that a lot of companies do not give off. A couple of things that Nike does right when using women in their advertisements, as they do not, like I said, they did not view them as being submissive. But not only that, they don't sexualize women in their advertisement, which is something we see a lot of companies doing because, as we've learned, sex sells. All right, so for my conclusion, I believe Nike has set the standard for representations of the LGBT community members, minorities and ethnic communities, women, and those with disabilities. They also represent men well, but I didn't choose to talk about that in here because I didn't think there was as much to talk about. Nike continues to show support for these people, empowers them, and reassures them that their voice is being heard. Nike does more things right than wrong in its portrayal of these different groups of people, and the company aims to give off a positive message and show support. And something else I didn't include in here, but I think is really important, is that Nike's not aiming to sell in these commercials, in my opinion. They're trying to spread a message, give people a voice who don't have a voice, and let them know their message is being heard, and there's people there to support their cause and back them up. So lastly, on my presentation, I have a discussion question to leave you guys with. So throughout this presentation, I mainly touched on what Nike does right when representing these different groups of people and what they do a good job of avoiding. Is there anywhere that you think Nike went wrong in this advertisement or could have done a better job of representing a certain group that was discussed? And please explain why.